seemed a little too good to be true, didn't it? The Nobel Peace Prize. That's what the right kept telling me, that it was President Trump, not President Moon, who deserved the Nobel Peace Prize for negotiating a peace with North Korea, when it was Moon who ran on the peace talks and came up with the language in the peace agreement and made all of the moves necessary to create that peace. But it was all Trump. The MAGA crowd jumped on a report that said that President Moon, in a call with President Trump, said that he deserved Trump the Nobel Peace Prize. But many have heavily speculated that this was just a part of Moon's long, very smart, I might add, strategy to butter Trump up. But because Kim Jong-un didn't do the same, because he's kind of crazy, Trump has decided to cancel the peace summit that Moon and South Korea has worked so hard on. Here are the details we have so far. Donald Trump has canceled his planned summit with the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un, blaming his decision on a threatening statement from the Pyongyang regime. In a formal letter to Kim released by the White House, Trump said he had been very much looking forward to the summit in Singapore on June 12th. But he wrote, "Sadly, based on the tremendous anger and open hostility displayed in your most recent statement, I feel it is inappropriate at this time to have this long-planned meeting. You talk about your nuclear capabilities, but ours are so massive that I pray to God they will never have to be used." Nice. Stooping to the level of North Korea by threatening them in the way that they would threaten us. Great. And it's also stupid because experts on the negotiations have said that Un almost wanted Trump to walk away from the summit. It allows North Korea to have more leverage. They can say that they entered into these negotiations with the U.S. in good faith and that it was the United States who went back on the deal, just like they did in Iran, kind of like they did in Libya. You just can't trust the United States. That's the narrative. And honestly, it's a correct narrative, especially under Trump. Unfortunately, it also hurts the U.S.-South Korea alliance because despite Moon's, in my opinion, Herculean-like efforts, he couldn't suck up to the thin-skinned child in the White House enough. So now that the U.S. has pulled out of the deal, North Korea can restart their nuclear and their missile programs. And if South Korea wants to continue talks with the North will have more leverage and may go back on what they initially agreed upon in that initial agreement because of what Trump has done. And also what this does is, since the U.S. looks like the bad actors, and are the bad actors really, in pulling out of this deal, China probably doesn't feel the need to work with us on sanctions against North Korea. Obviously, China had been helping North Korea in the past and had an under-the-table partnership with them, I mean, even though everyone knew about it. But part of why these peace talks were able to happen was because China had started to come on board. And what do you know? It worked. But now, why would China ever agree to help us out again with Trump doing these kinds of things? They can just resume that partnership, really. Basically, Trump gives North Korea much more power in these talks by pulling out. All because he's an overly aggressive simpleton who just takes the bait, in any fight. Any fight. It simply just increases our chances that we will go to war with North Korea, which is still less likely than the war that we could go to with Iran. But John Bolton's influence is clearly being felt in this White House, and it is awful, awful news for diplomacy and peace around the world. North Korea claimed to have destroyed its nuclear testing site Thursday, setting off a series of explosions to collapse a network of underground tunnels where it had detonated 6 increasingly large bombs over 11 years. The North set off a series of made-for-TV blasts that were reported by journalists brought to the site. But the Kim regime did not allow any experts to observe the events, making it difficult to assess what exactly they had done. Most analysts remain highly doubtful that North Korea is actually prepared to give up its nuclear program. So again, this allows North Korea to loosen the parameters of the deal that they had already struck or agreed upon, really, with South Korea. They don't necessarily need to get rid of their nuclear program now if Moon is still committed to peace. Again, they have gotten more leverage in this deal now. The art of the deal. Trump campaigned on being a master negotiator, but frankly, his diplomacy and foreign policy could be the worst part of his presidency. And there are a lot of bad parts. Anyone who actually understands how deals are really done in the real world would have loved the Iran deal and the peace deal crafted by South Korea, because both contained significant concessions from our enemies, and we gave up little to nothing in return. I am sure that Moon wants to continue peace talks with or without the US, but Trump has significantly hamstrung him here with his childishness. And so if Moon wants to push forward a peace deal, he may not be able to get North Korea to agree to dismantle their nuclear program or their missile program. Peace is a top priority for Moon, and Moon knows that, and it's what he ran on. But Trump may have created a situation where that peace that could be agreed upon is much less stable. Trump has handed leverage to North Korea. So Nobel Peace Prize people, what are you thinking now?